الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. So we had a bit of a transport problem, so time is less, so we're going straight to the tafsir, right? So the tafsir, there is something that we missed out yesterday in the part we done. So we just want to go a little bit back, inshallah. Remember, we were discussing the incident of the people that lived on the ocean, right? Remember the people who lived on the ocean, right? And they transgressed. So if you look at the different tafsirs, you'll find that they transgression. Different ulama explain that they transgressed in different ways. And mostly to get the details of these verses, we rely on what we term as Israeli riwayat. Israeli riwayat means things that we heard from the scholars of the Jews or the Christians, etc. Right? So as per the usul, and we can accept it, we can reject it, whatever. But we don't accept, we don't consider, we believe, we don't reject it outright. We don't say it is 100% true, but we can use it just to gain clarity, right? La nusaddiqu wa la nukadhibu, right? So, just to bring you up to speed again, there's something I missed yesterday. That's why I'm doing it again now, right? So, the last thing we discussed is Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he was sitting with the Musaf and he was crying, right? And then his student was Ikrama radiallahu ta'ala rahmatullah alayhi came and said, what makes you cry, etc. Right? So then he narrated the whole incident, right? He narrated the whole incident. So everything 100% perfect till there, till everything is still in place, till we came to the path where these people were repeatedly advised, and then they refused to heed the advice, etc. And then the next morning, when they came and they jumped and they saw these people had been transformed or disfigured into monkeys, etc. That's 100%. So I need to read again from here. See, فَلَمَّا نَسُوا مَا ذُكِّرُوا بِهِ. Then when they forgot that which they were reminded with it, أَنْجَيْنَا الَّذِينَ يَنْهَوْنَ. We saved the ones, يَنْهَوْنَ, and issue that prohibited from evil, right? وَأَخَذْنَا الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا. And we seized the ones who were oppressed بعذاب بئيس, with a severe punishment, right? So قال فأرى الذي نهوا فأرى الذي نهوا قد نجوا. So here Ikrama is saying, who's saying? Ikrama is commenting on the statement of what? Of Ibn Abbas. He said, I think the ones that clearly prohibited from the evil, قد نجوا, they were successful, right? وَلَا أَرَى الْآخَرِينَ ذُكِرُوا. As for the other group, you can say the silent group, right? They were not mentioned, right? They were not mentioned, right? So now he says, look here, وَنَحْنُ نَرَى أَشْيَاءً نُنْكِرُهَا وَلَا نَقُولُ فِيهَا. Many a times we see things that, نُنْكِرُهَا, we consider to be wrong. وَلَا نَقُولُ فِيهَا, but we do not say anything about it, right? وَلَا نَقُولُ, we don't say anything about it. Right? Then he says, قَالَ, Ikrimah is saying, قُلْتُ جَعَلَنَا اللَّهُ فِدَاكَ. May Allah Ta'ala sacrifice me for you. أَلَا تَرَى أَنَّهُمْ. Don't you see these people, the Sakitin, those who never say anything. Remember, there was three groups. There was a group that committed the crime. There was the group that prohibited them, and there was a group that said, "Lima ta'iduna qawman." Why are you advising these people, right? So he's saying, Alata, don't you see, annahum karihu, that these people, even though they did not say anything against those people, but they disliked what they were doing. You understand what I'm saying? They never say anything, but they disliked. That's what he's saying. ألا ترى أنهم قد كرهوا ما عليهم, that what these people, in other words, these fishermen were doing, وخالفوهم, and even though they may say anything openly, but they said, وقالوا لما تعظون قوم الله. Why are you advising people that that Allah will destroy them? So what he's trying to show is there was dislike in their heart, even though they openly didn't speak out against it, but there was dislike in their heart for what these people were doing. You understood that? So he says, so Ikram says, فَأُمِرَ لِي فكسيت ثوبين غليظين. So now to understand this, remember in among the Arabs, it was you see from other hadith, etc. If somebody is pleased with you, they'll give you some nice clothes to wear. If somebody brings you good information, positive information, happy information, they'll even take a person will take out his clothes and give it to you. Because remember, there was a paucity, there was a scarcity of clothes back then, right? So remember the famous story of وعلى الثلاثة الذين خلفوا حتى إذا ضاقت عليهم الأرض بما رحبت. Like remember when those Sahabi, the Ashab were ostracized, and when the news came that now the boycott has been lifted out, the one Sahabi, I can't remember him, when a person brought a glad, he took his clothes off and he gave it to him. So that was like when you're happy with somebody, you're happy with what they done, etc., etc. You give them cloth, you give them the clothes on your body, even to such an extent. And as I said, before industrialization, when everything was made by hand made, obviously clothes was very expensive. Today, you mass produce things. So yeah, Ikram is saying here that Hazrat Ibn Abbas was so happy with my explanation that he gave the instruction that I must be gifted two beautiful thick cloths because of the explanation I gave. And what explanation I tell you, what he's saying, Ikram is saying, look here, these people, they said, why are you advising them? Leave them, right? Even though they didn't openly speak out against, right, these fishermen, but they expressed their what? Their dislike for it. And that's what the hadith say, من رأى منكم منكرا فليغيره بيده فإن لم يستطع فبلسانه وإن لم يستطع فبقلبه وذلك أضعف الإيمان. So in simple words, what he's saying, yeah, Ikram is saying that these people that at least at the minimum, they disliked the transgression of those people who were eating the fish, right? Or catching the fish, whatever, there's different explanations, right? In fact, in the next forthcoming about it, there's a bit more explanation on this also. So, what he's saying that they had the dislike, hence they are from the Najin. There's it, look at it. This is the main part. ألا ترى, this is a critical part. Don't you see أنهم يعني the ساكتين, right? قد كرهوا, they dislike ما هم عليه, that which the صيادين, the fishermen were doing. وخالفوهم, and they went against him by saying, this is how they said, why are you advising these people? They are hell bent on disobedience, right? Right? They might come in the muhrikum, Allah will destroy them. Then he's saying, فَأُمِرَ لِي فَكُسِيتُ ثَوْبَيْنِ غَلِيظَيْنِ. So Ibn Abbas was so happy with me, right? So, in simple words, according to this opinion, the Sakitin were Najin. Understood that? Now, if you read the next one, read the next one. Uh, Now see, there was a second opinion. أن الساكتين كانوا من الهالكين. That's the first opinion because they did show dislike. The second opinion is that the sakitin, they were included in the zumra, and the group of those people were also destroyed because they never come out in open opposition to the transgression. See, قال محمد بن إسحاق عن ابن عباس, and here's the proof. Ibn Ishaq, Muhammad ibn Ishaq was a great historian. You got Sirat ibn Ishaq, right? He said, and he writes from the Abbas, he says, Ibtada Ustabta. These people, firstly, this was an innovation that you can't, do business on a Saturday. Allah Ta'ala never imposed them. We know from this hadith, from other hadiths, etc., we know that the Banu Israel, they had many innovations. They made things haram upon themselves, which were halal, etc. Right, right. فَبْتُلُوا ابْتَلِيَ أُبْتُلِيَ أُبْتُلُوا فَبْتُلُوا فِيهِ. So because they made it haram upon themselves, they were tested with regards to it, right? لِمَ تُحَرِّمُوا مَا أَحَلَّ اللَّهُ لَكَ, right? فَحُرِّمَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ فِيهِ الْحِيتَانُ. So as a result of their own, like, this famous story when Allah Ta'ala instructed them, you must slaughter the cow, now what color cow, what age cow, all that type of thing, right? This was their own habit. فَحُرِّمَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ فِيهِ الْحِيتَانُ. So because of their own foolishness, the fish was made haram. فَكَانُوا إِذَا كَانَ يَوْمَ السَّبْتِ. Then when it was on the day of Saturday, شُرِّئَتْ لَهُمُ الْحِيتَانُ. The fish should come in abundance. You check the word shara, what it means? huh? Abundant, clear, right? وَيَنْظُرُونَ إِلَيْهِ فِي الْبَحْرِ. You could actually see it on the surface of the water, right? But فَإِذَا انْقَضَى السَّبْتُ, when the Saturday was over, ذهبت, it would go away. فَلَمْ تُرَى حتى السبت المقبل, it would not be seen till the following week. فإذا جاء السبت, then when the next Saturday would come, جاءت شرعا, and it would come again. فمكثوا ما شاء الله أمكثوا كذلك, then they continued like this for a while, right? ثم إن رجلا منهم, then one clever jack from among them, smart Alec, right? ثم إن رجلا منهم أخذ حوتا, he caught a fish on the Saturday, right? فخزم أنفه, he, I don't know if you ever seen, he put, sometimes on these animals you have on the nose, you put like a nose ring to keep it under control. So فخزم أنفه, he strung a nose on it, right? Strung a string through his nose, right? Or but whichever way, sometimes I know you see when you buy this fish, they have the string going through the gills to keep it together, right? So he tied it up, right? Right? ثم ضرب له, so when the fish was in abundance, he done this, right? What he done? When the fish, right? ثم ضرب له وتدا. وتدا أوتادا, this comes from the Quran. Watid means a pig. So you put a lesson to this, like how you take a cow, like you you put a string to the nose and you tie it up on the pig. So this guy, Jew guy, he done the same thing, right? They got a big fish because the fish were there, right? Then he maybe took the gut line, whatever, he tied it on his nose and he put it on a pig and he let it swim in the water. So in his mind, he's thinking, now I never catch a fish on Saturday. So he left it. ثم ضرب له وتدا في الساحل, he put a pig in the ground and he right. وربطه, وتركه في الماء, and he left it in the water. فلما كان الغد, when it was the next day, it means it was now the Sunday, right? أخذه, he took that big fish. فشواه, what he done? He fried it, right? And fried fish فأكله, and he ate it. ففعل ذلك, and when he was doing this, وهم ينظرون. Now the other day is speaking now. Remember I told you the first opinion was that the sakitin were najin. Sakitin were najin. Yeah. This is a different opinion. The sakitin were halikin. See there? أن الساكتين كانوا من الهالكين. They were halikin, right? So وهم ينظرون. So people were looking at this guy, hey, they're in shock. Look at this guy, what he done. He caught a fish on a Saturday, he tied it up, he left it in the water, and then uh, he left it there and he took it out on Sunday and he started brying it, right? Right? وهم ينظرون. But ولا ينكرون. They never say, hey, what you're doing is wrong. ولا, right? ولا ينكرونه. Right? ولا ينهاه منهم أحد. Nobody said anything. إلا أصبتم منهم. But there was one group. Remember the one day we said, which was it? What was it? Group said there. What was it said, right? The one group that was a Nahin, right? They are the ones that prohibited, right? So حتى ظهر ذلك في الأسواق, right? ففعل الآن, until this became apparent in the marketplace and people were doing it openly, right? حتى ظهر ذلك في الأسواق, right? ففعل, right? قال وقال طائفة للذين ينهون. So one group now that said to the other group that were prohibiting لما تعظون قوما إلا مهلكم أو rising a people مهلكهم, that Allah Ta'ala will destroy them, أو معذبهم, or you'll punish them عذابا شديدا, a severe punishment. They said قالوا معذرة إلى ربكم, so that we may have an excuse by our Rabb, right? فقالوا نسخط أعمالهم. سخط يسخط سخطة. Remember we done this word in the hadith also. Remember Hirakal, he said to Abu Sufyan, does anybody leave the religion of Islam سخطة? Remember, out of dislike for disdain. He said no. He said هكذا الإيمان يعني إذا دخل بشاشة القلوب. This is the quality of Iman when it enters the depths of the heart. The same thing, he said, وَقَالُوا نَسْخُطُ أَعْمَالَهُم. These people, the Nahin, they said, we dislike this. We dislike, we abhor the transgression. That's one reason why we are advising them, because we dislike their transgression, right? وَلَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَّقُونَ, and so perhaps they may desist. فَلَمَّا نَسُوا مَا ذُكِّرُوا بِهِ. So when So say falam, when they forgot that which they were advised with it, ila qawli, this one, qiradatan khasi'in, right? Qala ibn Abbas, kanu, so Ibn Abbas now, this is different riwayat now, right? He's saying, kanu aslathan, there were three groups, thuluthun nahaw, one third, they prohibited them, said, hey, people are doing the wrong thing here. You know, we've got clear instruction from Allah Ta'ala that we are not supposed to hunt on this day, right? ثلث نهوا وثلث, and one group قالوا لما تعظون قوما الله مهلكهم, why are you advising a people that Allah Ta'ala is going to destroy them, right? Right, that is, so that was the, we can say, the sakitin, let's call them let's call it the nahin, the sakitin and the zalimin, right? You got it, right? I'll be following, right? وثلث أصحاب الخطيئة, and one third was the group, let's say the zalimin, those that oppressed themselves, right? فلما فمان, so yeah, according, remember the previous opinion we told you there, it says there that the sakitin, they were successful, they were not, I would say they were successful, but they were not punished, they were not from the halikin. Why? Because they, at a minimum, they disliked the disobedience, they disliked the obedience, they accepted the disobedience. But according to this opinion, فَمَا نَجَا إِلَّا الَّذِينَ نَهَوْا, that nobody was successful except those people who openly, what? Who openly spoke out against the disobedience, right? Right? وَهَلَكَ سَائِرُهُمْ, and all the rest got destroyed. Who was the rest that got destroyed? The ظالمين and the sakitin. Are you with me? وقوله تعالى, and he says, here's a proof. وأخذ الذين ظلموا بعذاب بئيس, and we seize those who oppress بعذاب بئيس, with a severe punishment. So see there, فيه دلالة بالمفهوم على أن الذين بقوا نجوا. So it is an indication that the أن الذين, the ones that remained, right, they were the ones, it was whoever survived the punishment, they are the successful. And who did not survive the punishment, they were the, right, they were the unsuccessful people. That's what he's saying. So bi'sa ma'na fi qawli Mujahid, according to Mujahid, one of the great mufassirin, he said bi'sa means shadid, means severe, right? Wa fi riwayatin, and some riwayat, he said bi'sa means alim. Alam, one is ain, alama, which means pain, to know. And alama, what hamza means painful. Did you say batni ma'lumun, right? Right. وقال قتادة, and Qatada says موجع, it creates pain. فالكل متقارب, more or less the same meaning. والله أعلم, Allah Ta'ala knows best. خاسعين, ذليلين, means also خاص. So وأخذ الذين ظلموا بعذاب بئيس, and then خاسئين, the last part of the, what's the meaning of خاسعين? فقلنا لهم كونوا قردة خاسعين, and we said to them, be disgrace, despite ذليلين, right? Disgrace, حقيرين, حقير, low, muhanin. Ahana, yuhinu, muhanun means what? Something which is despised. So as a result of that, right, right. Yeah, so also, okay, so the question, sakitin or zalimin were punished. Okay, I'll just mention this again. There were three groups, right? Just recap it again. Sakiti, zalimin, those who actually committed the crime, right? Then the other group was the zalimin, those who committed the crime. Sakitin, those people who said, why are you advising them, right? And the nahin, those who prohibited. According to the first opinion, the sakitin were successful because they had a degree of dislike, which is the lowest form of iman. And according to the second opinion, it says even the sakitin were destroyed. They're supposed to come out openly and speak about against it. I hope that's clear. If it's not, I can mention it again tomorrow. Anyway, whilst we're still discussing this, we're going to continue tomorrow, or not tomorrow. We don't have to see on the Friday, eh? We have to see on the Friday. Yeah, we have to see on the Friday. So they say, some tafsir, they say, what they done is interesting. So yeah, like some riwayat say that they should cast their nets on a Saturday, and then they just withdraw their nets on the Sunday. And yeah, this one said this guy caught a fish, he strung a string to his nose, and then he let it into the water. I was reading the tafsir of Mufti Said Palampuri. He was a Mufti of Darul Deoband. What they done is they built extra ponds. They built extra ponds on the side of the river. So when the high tide would come, obviously, the high tide would push into the ponds. And obviously with that, the fish would also go in there. when the water goes back, then the fish remain in there. So then they say that they come on Sunday and they take the fish out of that. Okay, so I hope that is clear, inshallah. So now it will be Mishkat to Manazim is here. But subhanAllah. So basically the lesson there is that you as a Muslim, you have a duty according to your capacity. If you can speak out, you have to, if you can physically stop it, like your own child is doing something wrong, you can physically stop where you got authority. Obviously, we can't go now here. You start go breaking the bottle stores and all that type of thing. We'll get in trouble. So like you got in your own madrasa, in your own school, in your own house, you can stop it. Nobody's going to tell you anything. And if you can't, you must speak out against it. And if that will also get into a problem, the minimum iman is to dislike it with your heart in your heart. But this is a separate subject matter. That Islamic Khutubat of Mufti Taqi Uthmani is now been translated into English. It's to give talks. It is Darul Karachi every Asr. There's a nice bayan there. It got all the details about the most beautiful details got about Al-Amru bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar many years ago. Also, I gave a complete bayan on this here in the Jummah. Like when are you supposed to speak? When are you supposed to remain silent? When are you responsible? When you are not responsible? If anybody want to see that, you get Islamic Khutubat of Mufti Uthmani. He mentioned all the usul very, very beautifully. But anyway, inshallah, مشكات now, subhanallah, bihamdi, subhanallah, bihamdi.